Hey Trailblazers and Tarmac Tacklers, welcome to the Maximum Mileage Running Podcast. I am Nick Hancock, your host and UK Athletics and USCA certified running coach, and we're here with, as always,
Faye Johnson, qualified personal trainer and running coach, and trail running person.
Before we started recording, you were like, "Oh God, what do I have to say?"
I've just added that bit. Oh dear.
Welcome everybody. Do you know what, Faye? I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about the weather, because us Brits love talking about the weather. But what the fuck,
honestly,
is actually going on with the weather? I normally like rain, but I'm sick of it now.
Well, I'll be honest, Nick. I hate the rain, and I'm on my last nerve of having to wear wet trainers all the time and go out and have to, basically, you walk out the door and you're usually overdressed because it's so friggin' humid and sticky.
Yep.
But you've got to wear clothes because it's raining, and it's just
and it's really inappropriate if you don't wear clothes.
If you don't wear clothes. And then, it's just like so frustrating. It's unbelievable. And today, where I am anyway, I don't know, in South Wales, it has literally been apocalyptic for most of the day.
It's been violent. And also, it's recycling bin day today. Every Wednesday, every 2 weeks is recycling bin day. And guess what happens every Wednesday, every 2 weeks? The fucking wind is like a hurricane. Yeah. And everybody's bins are everywhere. It's a nightmare. Absolutely bloody.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm a bit fed up with the weather, if I'm honest. So, and it is, you're right, it's really warm. I put a story on Instagram the other day. It was like 16 degrees, in early February. What is going on?
Yeah, it's not been cold. Like I think I've worn like running leggings maybe a handful of times in the last 4 or 5 months, and I've just worn shorts all winter, and not even, and short sleeve t-shirt, like in January or February is just really odd. But
I must say, I'm actually sat here with my fan on.
I'm not quite there. I'm not going to lie. I'm not quite there. I have got.
Well, that was mostly because I have just been torturing myself on Zwift, and as you can tell, actually the light isn't
post-exercise glow that you're carrying.
Yes, I'm not going to put the video version on YouTube because I'm just a bit pink.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, just done a Zwift session, which I'm quite grateful to have been able to do, actually, because as you know, I'm sat here holding up a pack of penicillin because I've had a throat infection. It's been a bit of a rough few days in the Hancock household with throat infection for me. Max had a temperature on Monday again. I swear he's got some sort of immune thing that I need to get looked at really, because he just seems to have a temperature every 2-3 weeks roughly. And then obviously we've had some tricky things going on with Alison, and for anybody who is a regular on listening to the podcast, they'll know that she's going through some cancer troubles, but a bit of a blood clot in the leg situation yesterday, which was quite tough just to be back in urgent scans and hospitals and fucking nightmare. So a bit tough in the Hancock household.
Absolutely.
For a few days, but how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very good. I can't, all is well. Life is ticking along, and going okay.
You had a good weekend, didn't you?
I was very pleased with my weekend. So I was at Brecon for the inaugural winter trail race. So I'll just bore you all with the details. This used to be a half marathon.
Well, no, bore us, because that is the episode, Faye. Before you go into it too much, Yeah, we'll do the usual bits and bobs that we normally do, because I don't want you to skirt. I don't want you to skirt over it, Faye. I want some details of your race at Cardiff Brecon, because you did a little bit better than you were hoping for.
Yes,
and you smashed it. So yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. On the subject of weather,
yes,
that was going to be my coaching tip of the week, because it drives me a little bit mad when people are like, I didn't run today because it was raining a bit. We live in the UK, folks. You're not going to be able to spend your entire life, in the sunshine. Going on treadmills can be useful in certain circumstances, but for me, my coaching tip of the week is just get out there, folks. Like, okay, it's not very nice. I don't like the dickheads who say, oh, well, skin's waterproof anyway, because, skin might be waterproof, but when you get a little bit wet and it's a bit cold, you're going to get hypothermia. So that's stupid. So my coaching tip of the week really is, embrace this kind of weather. It is going to help you in the long run. When it does come to be marathon day, your ultra marathon, whatever it might be in a few months' time, when hopefully the weather's going to be a little better. Although that isn't guaranteed, because that's another point. If you don't train in shit weather sometimes, what happens if you get there on race day and the weather is atrocious? You can't go, I'm going to go do my marathon on the treadmill.
Do you know what?
Can you?
Yeah, no, you can't. And I do. I'm not going to name names, but I have a friend who is quite a fair weather runner and is often quite put off by the rain. And I just think, oh my God, like, you can't be using that as an excuse all the time, because it's not going to change. We live in South Wales. It's really not going to change. And yeah, you just got to get out in it, because you've got to embrace it. And it, in so many ways, it is a good thing, because it does, not to get into too much, but like it does build resilience. Because if you can get yourself out the door when it's peeing down and get a session done, the chances are you're going to be in much better stead when it comes to race day, because you've done worse. Do you know, it's probably not going to, if we use like London as an example, I know April, the weather can go either way, but the chances are it's going to be better than it is now in February. So if you've done your training in some really crappy weather, then you're going to be all right come the big day, Yeah. Probably more likely to go the other way, to be fair. It'll be hot.
that is
always a risk. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the usual. But yeah, like, if you're going to go, if you are going to take this advice and get out there and get it done, just make sure you're dressed for it. I think the Scots have a great saying: "There's no such thing as bad weather. Just being badly dressed for it, being badly prepared for it." There's some great products out there. I'm a particular fan of the Innovate Storm Shell. I think you wear Montaigne.
No, I have a Salomon. I can't remember the name of it.
Benetti?
But it's another one, but it's very lightweight, and it does feel like you've not got anything, no jacket on. So it's going to keep you dry and keep the wind off, because the wind is often the problem. It's not necessarily the rain. It's if you're out and say you are on a longer run, you've got soaking wet, and then the wind picks up. That's when it becomes a problem, because then you chill off really quickly.
Yeah. So, make sure you dress for it. That's my other tip.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well.
I was just going to say footwear, because I know, I get it. A lot of people are, training for spring marathons that are potentially on the road. But because there is a lot of crap on the roads and there's water everywhere, and, it's not ideal for your shiny, nice kind of road shoes. So my advice, and I know it's not ideal, is stick on something with a little bit more grip, because you can come a cropper even on tarmac when, the weather's a bit rubbish. So forget about, necessarily having to wear the speedy shoes. Just think, a little bit more practically, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't be doing too much running in the in the vapor flies and
yeah, I hope
those
not.
anyway. Yeah, no. Keep those for your specific speed sessions and stuff. But no, you're right. And actually, the other thing I would say is don't wear Gore-Tex either, because they just fill up with water,
like buckets. Yeah.
Yeah, just run through the puddle. Just get your foot wet a little bit, and when you get home, dry off.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, you get used to it.
Exactly.
And my last point on it was also going to be, things around the wind. It can be a little bit demotivating for people particularly when they're doing like a speed session. If they're running into the wind and they're like, oh well, I can't reach my my expected speed. So if you are training to pace for that particular session, just go, right, okay, I'm not going to hit those paces because the wind is, going in the other direction, you might, be running at world record pace.
Exactly.
I'm thinking that, everything's all hunky dory, and you're running literally like the wind, but you turn around and the wind's coming at you. So just run by effort.
Yeah, exactly.
Does this feel like my marathon pace or 5K pace or 10K pace or whatever it might be, and just go off that. Just forget about the numbers on your watch and go off feel for that particular session.
Do you know, I say this quite a lot to some of my runners, because I think we take it for granted, because running by feel comes with practice and it comes with time. And often if someone is new to running, it can be a bit like if you say to someone, run to effort. So I want you to use the RPE scale and I want you to run around 7 to 8. If someone doesn't have that feel, it can be quite an alien concept. And often, if you've given someone a pace to stick to, they'll be looking at their watch religiously. But then you end up in the other kind of, you're constantly clock watching to check that you're on pace, and then that affects it as well. But it does take time and practice to run to feel. And I think often people are put off by it because it's not got a number attached to it.
It's not tangible.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you are having to trust you as a runner and what you are capable of doing and what feels right for you. And I do think it's often quite a challenging thing for people.
In the trail world, we don't really use pace at all. It's all RPE.
Has to be. Absolutely. I rarely, as many people who know me, I never talk about time. I very rarely will go, they're like, what are you going to run at the weekend? I don't know. It depends on lots of things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Good. So there you go, folks. If you are thinking that you're just going to run on the treadmill. Oh, and also the other issue with running on the treadmill and pace is that unless your treadmill is being calibrated with a tachometer device every week, then that pace is probably not going to be right.
Yes.
So don't go off the pace off your treadmill. That's something I come across a lot. People go, oh no, I was trying to run at 7-minute mile pace on the treadmill and it was so hard. There's no way I'm going to do it for the marathon. I'm like, okay, did you calibrate your treadmill in the last 7 days? What do you mean calibrate it? Exactly.
Yeah.
And the gyms, forget about the gyms.
Yeah.
The gyms definitely don't calibrate their treadmills.
Well,
100%.
I didn't want to say, but yeah, they probably get calibrated when they break.
Yeah. I mean, you could be in the gym and, you get these gyms, they've got, 15, 16 treadmills all lined up next to each other, and every single one of them will be completely different.
Absolutely.
You could be running at what you think is 7-minute mile pace on one, and then you could go on 7-minute mile pace on the next, or whatever mile pace you want to pick, and it'd be completely different.
Exactly.
Totally different.
Exactly.
So that's another one. Anyway. Faye.
Yeah.
You ran Coy de Brennan on the weekend.
Yes.
What the hell is one of those?
So,
for the people going, what's Coy de Brennan?
Coy de Brennan? So, Coy de Brennan is a beautiful forestry area in South Snowdonia. If you've never been, I would say everybody go, but don't, because I don't want it to get too busy. But anyway, beautiful trail centre. And when I say trail centre, mountain biking and trail running. So specific, actual, like marked trail routes you can go and run. It's, a fantastic spot. But last weekend was the first winter trail race. formerly a half marathon. So anybody that's listening that knows, it used to be Winter Trail, which was a half marathon. But it's changed slightly, and this new race has been created, which is a 7-mile route with lots of elevation, lots of single track, lots of fun ups and downs, and beautiful spots along the route if you have time to look up and take it in. But yeah, just a really fun, brilliant sort of shorter race, let's say, than what I'd usually sign up to.
And when you say lots of elevation, what was it? It was I think it was like 7,000 foot of gain.
It was seven miles with about 1,300 foot of elevation.
And you got 3 like fairly significant climbs in there, haven't you?
Yeah. So you've got, to be honest, and people will laugh at me, and anyone that ran it will probably not agree with me, but the first one kind of came and went without you realising. And that sounds really silly. And I know people will be like, Faye, don't talk such rubbish. Because
I'm not surprised when you were running, you set off at, so I'm just looking at your stats, because obviously I coach you.
Yes.
And you went off at a 6:18-minute mile pace.
So that was another story.
Uphill.
But yeah, uphill. The first part is uphill. I was chatting to a girl that I know on the start line, and we decided to go right to the front. So no one else was. So we then, okay, let's go straight to the front. So on the countdown, the two of us led the way, which I thought was quite odd because you don't get that very often. But yeah, it was one of those races that the start of the race is like the start of all the races there. So you get to learn the first kind of kilometre very well. But as a result, I went at what I would class as like my 5K pace. And it was quite out of character for me to push myself out of the blocks that quick, because normally I'm misconservative and I will hold back until I really have to. But something on the weekend just made me think, hey, this is 7 miles. We haven't got much time. We need to kind of, get out there. Quick.
Get on
yeah,
with it.
Exactly.
Get yourself into the pain cave, which is what I said to you, wasn't it? On
yeah, I don't
whatever it was last week.
I don't like the pain cave, Nick. I don't know that I'm.
I know you don't. That's why I told you need to get in there.
I like to be on the cusp of comfort and in control. But anyway, yes. So as a result, it was a very interesting race, though, in regards to there was 4 of us, 4 ladies, that the first lady, fantastic runner, I know her from other races, she was off, and I kind of put in my head, oh, she's gone now. And so I sat in second for about 3 miles and got to about 3.5 miles and heard what you just heard a female coming behind and was like, oh, damn, who's that? And then she was very closely followed by someone else. And I was like, oh, shit. Okay, so I've gone from second to fourth at 3.5 miles. So I was like, okay, we're halfway. And then I got the most epic stitch. Now, I never get stitches, but I was just like, I can't feel my hands. I can't breathe. And I was like, I'm going to have to call it. I can't finish this. This is like, I was a bit like, anyway, after I got over that, the aid station was just around the corner. So I had a drink, had a gel, and then literally 5 or 6 minutes later, gone. And I felt fine again. And I knew by this point I wasn't far from the last climb. So at this point I thought, right, so unfortunately, and the girl who was in third, she twisted her ankle. And so I stopped and helped her because some other people didn't, unfortunately, which is never nice to see. But she, exactly, she twisted her ankle on one of the descents. And so I made sure she was okay. to carry on, and then got to the bottom of the Sting, which is the the race within the race of Winter Trail. So basically you get timed from the bottom to the top of this climb, which it takes the distance. Someone asked me how long was this climb, and I actually have never checked how long the climb is, but basically I did it in about 5 minutes, 5 and a bit minutes. And anyway, got to the bottom of this, and the girl that was in second, I met a quarter of the way up, and I know for a fact that this girl walks hills. So I knew before, I was like, right, that's it. This is it. I've got to take her now. Took her on the climb, came out the top, was like, okay, we've not got far now. And then final descent, she overtook me. And I had absolutely nothing left. And I thought, I just need to concentrate and stay upright for this last, not even a K, but I thought I have to just, not hurt myself, because it's quite easy on the last bit to come a cropper. And I then crossed the finish line as third lady in 56 minutes and something.
56:42, I got it. On
something like that.
Peaks, although give or take, that's,
I think.
Yeah, that's a Watts press away. But just because I've got Training Peaks in front of me and I can see all of the data, I'm just looking at that climb. It's about 0.36 to 0.4 of a mile. You did it in just over 5 minutes, and it's got an average gradient of 15.4%, which we know that 12.5% gradient and above, it tends to be kind of walking territory. So considering you managed to run it, that's pretty impressive. In fact, your normalized gradient pace, which for the Strava users amongst us is grade adjusted pace, was just under 7 minutes. So you were running it pretty hard.
I as many people will know, I usually go into this race wanting to absolutely obliterate that part of it. It's, if I do nothing else, that's what I,
Well, you did.
But yeah, I was
fastest lady up the Sting.
I was very, very pleased with that. And I can't remember what time the winning man did it in, but I don't think it was that much faster than me. And he's like 18 years old. So I was stood there going, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she's still got it. But yeah.
No, amazing result.
But I went into that race not having a clue really what time I was going to do. And I think I said to people, I hope I do it in about an hour and 10 minutes. And and then I didn't look at my watch. I can genuinely say to you, I did not look at my watch until I was about 30 meters from the finish. And I looked at my watch and I went, holy crap, I can't believe that. Because I just was like, there's absolutely no point looking at your watch on that kind of route, it's it's kind of irrelevant, but yeah.
Actually, I've got the results here. So it was pretty close actually between
the three of us,
the top three,
within 2 minutes. 2 minutes,
1:38 between the three of you. There was only 20 seconds, not even that, between you and second.
Yes,
and you were 24th overall out of 443. Bang tidy.
I'm pleased with that.
Nice one, Faye.
I'm pleased with that.
No, I'm delighted because we've talked about this in other episodes. I think on the hot seat actually, you mentioned you'd had a little bit of a period of being a bit kind of meh about your running, and that's okay. We all get that from time to time. I had my little meh moment after UTS last year, but you and rewinding back a little bit further with your long COVID issues and stuff. It's nice to see you podiuming again, and you got a lovely trophy.
I did.
Beautiful.
Yes, I got two. I got my the Sting trophy is the awesome trophy. This trophy was put together in honour of a gentleman who used to help at all the races. and they named it after him in his memory. But he also, they made the trophy is made out of natural materials from the forest and from the local like Snowdonia area. So it's one of those things. It's obviously a one-off, and there's one male trophy and one female trophy, but it's a beautiful thing. And I've been fortunate enough to have it in my house for pretty much the last 6 years.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm wondering when Matt will get to the point where he goes, "Oh, Faye, do you know what? You can have it."
And Matt, that's the race director?
So Matt Ward, yes, the fantastic Matt Ward. He heads up Run Coed y Brenin with his awesome team. I often, I know this sounds a little bit, but the races and the running community up there there's nothing like it. And for me, I think I've been running up there since 2015. And if anything, it just encapsulates what trail running in this country is about, and how community and inclusivity and fun. Do you know what? Like, these events are fun, and they are just so, they're just great for everybody and inclusive and accessible, and just a great kind of thing going on up there, in a special place for me personally. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you do a lot of running up there, don't you?
Yes.
Kind of one of your favourite places.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it sounds a lot like what I experienced at the Arc of Attrition until you said the word fun. I don't think many people who run the Arc of Attrition would call it fun.
Well, yes. It depends how you define fun, isn't it?
This is true. No, well done, Faye. Absolutely delighted. And we've got some other events coming up. Was it your next one? Forest
of Dean Trail Half Marathon, which I haven't done for many years now. Probably, I think 2016 was the last time I did this particular route. So, it's been quite a long time.
2016, so that's 8 years. 8 years older. And you've set a goal of setting a PR.
I would very much like to do that. Yeah, if I can.
Yeah, we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it.
Yeah.
But that's where I talked to you about, let's get you in the pain cave, because you need to start getting used to it. I keep talking about that sub 20 park run at Monmouth Park Run. And I do think that little edge for you is just going, right, get in the pain cave and fucking stay in there and have a word with yourself.
Yeah, don't switch off. I was saying this to someone. There is a lot of concentration required, and I often will zone out, and I will go into it, and I'll be uncomfortable, and I'll be like, shit, this is hard. And then I'll go, la, 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 I'm thinking about what I need to do later, or someone's just run past me and said good morning to me or something, and then you're out of it again. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I have to hold my concentration. I think that's part of my problem.
Yeah, 100%. I did a race before Christmas, like early November, an off-road, one of the Ultra Off-Road League. And that was kind of one of the first races. In fact, I think it was the first race I'd done after hernia surgery.
Yes.
And I had to, exactly like what you just said, I had to just remember that I'm in a race here, and, I like racing. And I just kept forgetting.
Yeah.
Running along after the first mile, chatting with people. I'm like, hang on a minute. What am I doing here?
Yeah, I know. It happens really easily. Yeah. And I think particularly if you've been coming off the back of a bit of easy, either you've been injured or you've been building back into something, your brain is not in there. And if you've not raced for a while, and I know I really struggled with this last year, I'm running along, chatting to people, morning so-and-so, morning so-and-so. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. No, 100%. That's sort of part of this episode is me talking about my recent race that I just did.
So, Nick, tell us about not just Brecon to Cardiff, but Brecon to Cardiff Extreme. Extreme.
For those not watching, because I'm not going to put the video up anyway, we're doing the X Factor symbol with our arms like a pair of idiots. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, sort of on that point about forgetting that you're racing and just your head not being in it. I was kind of a little bit like that with this race because, look, with everything that's happened with Alison over the last 12 months and the cancer situation and then having a little bit of time out with the hernia surgery, and I honestly I really lost my confidence in racing, and I had probably one of my worst results in my last ultramarathon that I did just before Christmas. And that was sort of a bit of a knock to my confidence. Okay, all right, I was 21st out of 400 runners. But for me, that's kind of a little bit of like, I got overtaken by a Christmas fucking pudding.
Well, I think that was part of the problem, wasn't it?
Oh my God. And I did turn my brain back on a little bit, and I did, in the last race. But anyway, Brecon to Cardiff. So yeah, Brecon to Cardiff is a race that I've done twice before, and Faye can see me pointing at the two medals that are on my, that one there, and then this one here.
Yeah.
So, I have done it twice before, but I've done the old version, which I'm sorry to Joe if he is listening to this for some reason, who's the race director of Run Walk Crawl, puts on some fab races. And Brecon to Cardiff is a fab race. Once you've done it once, I went back for a second attempt because I felt like I had a faster time in me and better result, which I did.
Yeah.
I came fourth and beat my previous time by 30 minutes in worse weather. So yeah, it was a good result, but it's not the most exciting of routes. I think it's a really good ultramarathon for first timers, even though it's a 43 miler. It's not technical at all. It's very runnable. There's no like major climbs or disgusting technical terrain or anything like that. It's pretty runnable. So look, it's great from that perspective. And actually, if somebody likes to do a quite fast ultramarathon, it's a great option to do. So I wouldn't have gone back for a third time, but this year it was the 10-year anniversary of the race, and they created an extreme version. Ben, who works with Run Walk Crawl, created an extreme version. I'd just like to say Ben needs to get his head checked with some of the parts of the race, because do you know what, I went into it a bit like, how extreme is it going to be? I mean, come on.
Well, you went into it having only decided, you only decided a couple of weeks prior, didn't you, to actually do it?
I did, yeah, and I was keeping it quiet for the most part, because really all I wanted to do, because I've got a fantastic trio of iconic races this year. I'm very lucky to have on my calendar Ultra Trail Snowdonia 100k, Lakeland 50, and I got into CCC at UTMB weekend in Chamonix. So I thought, I don't want to go into those three races having not really done a mountain ultramarathon at some point. So I thought, well, now's a really good time to go get some elevation, get some mountain legs. And so yeah, I thought, sod it, I'll do it. And that was kind of it. That was my entire plan. It was literally just go and have a day in the mountains, get to the end, and that's kind of box ticked. I've done a mountain ultra, no other expectation at all. And that's how I started the race, really. I kind of started off, for me, at the back a little bit. I was kind of sort of in the middle to back of the starting lineup, and whereas normally I'd be pushing my way to the front because I'm trying to race, and that was it really. Sort of trotted out, I saw all the fast lot go bombing off at the start, and I think I sort of sat very much in the middle of 180 runners, I think. Just kind of trotting my way up to Pen y Fan, and that was kind of the start of the route, was coming out of Brecon up to the back side, what I call the backside of Pen y Fan, up Jacob's Ladder side.
Yeah.
Which is quite a tough climb.
It is very tough. Yeah. It goes on.
Particularly at the top.
And on.
Yeah, it goes on.
And on.
Yeah. It goes on and on. I don't mind that.
No,
exactly. I always say it's only Pen y Fan. It's not fucking Mount Everest. It's So yeah, sort of halfway up, I slipped and landed on my arse and got mud everywhere, and sort of had a chuckle and was like, good job I'm not racing this. What an idiot. And yeah, I just, there were actually quite a few people were overtaking me up the climb because, you've heard me say this before. I'm a little bit heavier than I have been in previous races. I'm not quite in running uphill fast mode at the moment because I am carrying a good solid about 15 pounds more than I have been in previous mountain races. So I wasn't that great up the climbs at all for the whole race, really, because I could just feel I was lugging a tyre up. Got to the top of Penyvan and, I stopped to take a picture, even though it was pea soup up there.
I think you were, you were also messaging the group of updates. And this was funny because the messages were coming through. And what made me laugh more than anything is one of my runners I spoke to the following day, and she was like, how does Nick text and run at the same time? How on earth is he doing this? And I said, I'll be honest, he was probably walking at that point because he was going up a mountain or hill. But yeah, she laughed because she was like, is this something we should be able to do?
It's a unique skill. I'll talk about that a bit more in a second because it kind of forms part of the story of the race. But yeah, I got to the top of Penyvan, and we've got our maximum mileage WhatsApp group with all our runners, and I took a nice selfie of me on the top of Penyvan because there was no queue that day because it was, the weather was biblical on the top of Penyvan.
Yeah.
It was, the rain was sideways and pretty grim, really. Well, what some people would call grim, I didn't mind it. I was actually up there in my maximum mileage t-shirt where everybody was in their waterproofs. I did put my waterproofs on at one point. And so got to the top of Penyvan, came down Penyvan, up Cribbin, Fanny Big, lol. We did that part of the course. Very beautiful, coming down actually from Fanny Big to the Taft Trail.
It's lovely.
I can't remember the climb on the. I think it's Pontsicle.
Yes, that's right.
Reservoir.
Yeah.
So you go past the reservoir and there's a climb up. And that's where the race started to get a little bit interesting. And that's about sort of between 10 and 13 miles in, you get to the top of that climb. And this is where Ben, the course designer, was a little bit sick because, oh my God, the bogs up there were unbelievable. I'm pretty good with boggy areas. I've actually done it so many times now that I know where to put my feet. Where you see a clump of long grass, that at the bottom of that clump of long grass, it's rooted into the ground.
Yeah.
And therefore, the ground there is solid.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with these boggy areas in the UK is that it can trick you by some of the bogs can look like solid ground because they've got this like really thick green surface to them, and it looks like you can put your foot there, but actually that's just algae. And you put your foot in it and you just keep going. And one poor lad on this like 3 miles of I honestly, unless actually you're up there, I can't explain how bad it was.
It's hideous.
There was one poor lad who, I'm not kidding, he went full on Vicar of Diddley right up to his armpits.
Oh, bless him! Oh God!
And fair play. I turned around. And I was like, "Do I need to go and help him?"
Yeah.
But somebody was there, and they stuck their pole out to give him a pole to pull himself up. And I did later see a photograph of him at the last checkpoint. So he did. He made it. He did finish. Fair play to him. But apparently a few people. That was brutal up there. That was really, really brutal. But I was moving quite well across there, and that was where I started catching up with a few people.
Yeah.
And my sort of nice little plod out in the mountain turned into me going, oh, I'm starting to make up some places here. So anyway, I kept kind of tootling along, got myself to Merthyr, because shortly after that we met the rest of the Brecon to Cardiff runners on the normal route.
Yeah.
I was actually running with the guy that was in fourth for a little while on the normal route until he kind of carried on and we went a different way. But yeah, I got myself then to the Merthyr checkpoint, which is about 24 miles of the 47, 48 that we did on the extreme. And I'm one of my, here's a little coaching tip for everybody. Anybody who's doing an ultra marathon, if you're going to do anything at the checkpoints, do it quickly. Yeah. Get in, get out, go.
Absolutely.
Don't fuck about. And actually I looked at my data afterwards. I spent a grand total of 3.5 minutes in the 6.
Very nice.
Aid stations. Yeah. So I get in, I get out. I don't fuck about.
No.
Just get on with it. And that was where then I saw actually, a couple of good runners, and a friend of mine, a guy called Tim, who I used to go to school with, incidentally, a very good mountain runner. He's won Ultra Snowdon, GB Ultras event, really, really good runner. And I was like, well, I've kind of overtaken him now, and I'm out over the aid station. And then I just, all of a sudden, I don't know why, I thought, let me see if I can check the tracker to see where I am. But I don't know why, I just couldn't seem to pick up signal on the tracking app. So that was when you saw me going,
yes,
texting on our athlete group. Can somebody tell me where I am in the field? And James, then, who I coach, who loves a bit of dot watching, straight away was like, right, you're in about 15th. And I was like, ooh, okay. Considering I at one point was at least in sort of 60th, maybe 70th, just pootling along, just enjoying a day out in the mountains. And yeah, that was where my head switched, and I was like, right, okay, how far in front of me is, the next person? And James, bless him, was like my virtual pacer pit crew. And well, everybody actually started, texting. And this is where my kind of skill and my head just went from, going back to our earlier point, my head just went, you're in a race.
Yeah.
Like, let's race. And I just, something just came over me.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, I'm trying not to well up here because it's been a long time since I felt this way. I just felt like the old me again.
Yes.
And I just put the foot down. And it was just kind of a moment of, let's fucking go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I said that on the on the WhatsApp group. And anyway, so I then started picking people off, and James and everybody was texting me going, right,
come on,
now you're in.
Yeah.
Now you're in 30. Now you're in 12th.
Yeah.
And, right, you've got the next. There's a group of 3 ahead of you, and I think at mile 28, I pushed out a 7-minute mile whilst texting.
Yeah.
But I was buzzing. I was buzzing. There was this absolute, like, my heckles were up.
Yeah.
I had goosebumps, and I had the tunes on in my AirPods, and just hadn't felt like that in ages. And I think at mile 38, I did a 6:42 minute mile.
Wow.
Granted, it was slightly downhill,
but still,
it wasn't
at that point in an ultra, when you've just crossed over the Brecon beacons and then some, shockingly boggy, moorland, I think that's pretty awesome to have pulled that out the bag. And isn't it? It's amazing how, that just that one thought that crossed your mind about going, I wonder where I am, because for you, something must have made you think, actually, let's think about this. How am I going to do the second half of this race? And then, it flicked that switch in your mind and you went, right, this is it. I can do this.
I remember, I think it was like mile 20, 25, 26, so kind of around that marathon distance. And I just felt so fresh. I'd come out of Merthyr having, gone in, got my stuff, got out. I knew I'd kind of made a few places up because people were titting around in the checkpoint, changing shoes and and stuff like that.
Getting a foot massage, having a 3-course meal. Yeah.
Yeah, mucking about. So yeah, I thought, I just feel really good. Like I feel super fresh. 25, 26 miles, I feel super fresh. Like what's going on? Where am I in the field? And I knew I'd picked a few places off going through the bogs. So yeah, and that was where kind of the texting was coming in. Like, right, where am I now? And I think I got myself up to 8th, which is where I eventually stayed. Yep. But yeah, I got myself up to 8th, and like I was saying things like, right, where am I now? And James was like, right, you're in 8th. There's potential you could get yourself up to 5th if you get a move on. So I was like, right, cool. How far have I got? Right, they're about half a mile in front of you. Okay, roger that. And what does I say? Like, I'm giving chase or something. Yeah. I was properly buzzing.
Do you know, absolutely. What was so funny on this particular day? I was on a course, and so was one of my runners as well. And we both had to mute the chat because our phones were constantly buzzing. And I was like, what is going on? I'm going to have to switch that off.
Yeah, everybody was like proper cheering me on and stuff, which was giving me a real lift. But yeah, I finished in 8th place. Actually, when I crossed the line, Joe, the race director, who was sorting medals out and stuff at the finish line, he looked at me and went, fair play, you look remarkably fresh considering you've just done extreme. And I was just buzzing, absolutely buzzing. And I kind of wish now, the only thing I'm sort of wishing is that I'd started off a little bit more vigorously.
I don't know, because it might have ended differently. Do you know? I think
it might have done, but I honestly, I felt so fresh at the end. Actually, that was kind of one of the positives, and I always do this after a race. I kind of debrief with myself, or I do this with the people I coach. What was good, what was bad. Because the bad things, like I know that out of Brecon to Cardiff Extreme, I need to work on my uphills, and I've been doing that. I've got a performance nutritionist, Steve Winrow, who I work with, who's trying to cut a little bit of fat off me before I get back into the race season proper. So I know that's going to help with my hills. So I always come out of things with things to work on. But I always think, what were the positives? And one of the big positives were, could I have done another 14 miles to make it 100k? When I go to Snowdon, and okay, Snowdon's going to be more elevation, but I could have done a 100 miler.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Good. And
isn't it? And that, right? If you think about it, a lot of that came from your head in that second half of that race, and you decided, this is what I'm going to do. This is now my approach for the second half of this race. And amazing how that changed the whole thing, both how you felt physically and mentally.
It was a real moment of me going, I am here. I can do this. My confidence just came back a little bit, and it was just nice to do.
Absolutely, and I think that's fantastic.
Nice to run that way.
Yeah,
and I recovered super well from it. I mean, I'm not even 3 weeks post race, and I've got a half marathon on the weekend, which a few weeks ago I was thinking I'm just going because I've got a few people running it, but I don't want to say too much, but I was doing some pace testing the other day, and I felt pretty good at PB pace.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Half marathon PB 3 weeks after a 50 miler in the mountains. We'll see.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Absolutely.
That would need to be a sub 117 half marathon.
Yeah.
To be a PB. I can't.
Well,
I still struggle to compute in my head that I've even run.
I mean, that is incredible. Yeah, absolutely.
So, we'll see. But it's just I'm just buzzing now, just thinking that I've actually got a bit of confidence in my running.
Absolutely.
Again.
And so you should. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
But no, thanks to the Run Walk Crawl team. Just one last thing actually on the course.
Yeah.
The most disgusting part of the course. forget about the bogs, forget about climbing up Jacob's Ladder. The most disgusting part was the last climb, which was up a... Well, do you know what? I've got the data in front of me, but it was a road that must have been... Oh, how long was it? 1.5 miles.
Oh my God.
And really steep. Hang
Yeah.
on. I'm just getting on Training Peaks now and I will tell you exactly. But it just felt like it went on forever. And then when you did get to the top of the road bit, there was only about 20 meters worth left of climbing up a little bit of trail.
Oh.
All right, here we go. But it was like a proper hands and knees job.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 1.5 miles. It took me 26 minutes to do it.
1.5.
An average gradient of 12%. And just disgusting. Yeah. Yeah. It was that was pretty gross. But other than that, great course actually. A little bit in the middle where it's running between Merthyr and Comeback Rugby Club is a bit grim.
Yeah.
But,
it's
here's the valleys.
Yeah, exactly.
But other than that, beautiful course. Yeah. And they always put a good event on Run Walk Crawl. So it's the 4th Run Walk Crawl event I've done. And I want to say like they're kind of like a little bit of an unknown, but actually their races are packed. Like they have hundreds of people. I think the first time I did Brecon to Cardiff, I think it was 579 starters.
Mm-hmm.
So they are busy races, but they are good. Like anybody who fancies doing a race, like in the Beacons, along the Gower, they put some good races on.
They do.
Yeah, thanks to those guys. And Run Walk Crawl actually, and Brecon to Cardiff finishes at not the most glamorous of locations with Nantgarw College, but they do a very good, they do a very good jacket potato with cheese and beans at the end. So
nice,
mega
nice.
Yeah. So that's the episode today, Faye.
Yes.
Just nice to share our experiences. And we're getting busy now. Actually, we've got lots of things going on with our runners. I know you've had some good results for your folks. I've had some great results for my folks as well.
Things are starting to get. We're coming to that period. If those that are signed up to spring marathons, we're not far away now in the scheme of things. Because I always think before Christmas, you're sat in this kind of sense of I've got ages, and then Christmas is out the way, and then we get back into it. And I don't know about anybody else, but January lasted for 3 years, and now February's nearly over. And I'm we're in the last week of Feb, pretty much, and we're nearly in spring. So things are starting to kind of ramp up a little bit, as it were.
Yeah, they sure are. And I would say anybody who's looking for coaching at the moment, reach out to me and Faye. Yes. We do have some spots open, as we do have some people that are inevitably going to finish in April, because some people that we coach are doing London Marathon for charity, for example. Mm-hmm. So we have some little spots opening up around now. So get in touch.
Yeah, definitely.
Faye, been lovely chatting.
Yes, and
well done on your result again.
And well done to you as well. Thank you.
Cool. Speak soon.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Maximum Mileage Running Podcast.
You can find more out about us at maximummileagecoaching.com. If you think you need help with your running and you think that either myself or Faye could be the coach for you, then drop us an inquiry. No obligation whatsoever, and we'll have a chat with you about your running. And there's plenty of resources on the website as well. And don't forget, you can join us on the Maximum Mileage Running Podcast Facebook group. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.